In here for circle versus lines. Knife sharpens knife. I just wanted to make a quick video because I was thinking about how people come up with these weird questions and about to justify their hatred and racism by saying, "Oh, your people sold your people into slavery." You can have weird names for your children. You you should go back to Africa, or you're not, you're a monkey, and you're lazy. I was thinking, is this real? Do white people know their history? First of all, on the first one, where you claiming that we sold our people to each other, that's a lie, and they know it. First of all, the people in Africa are not Negroes, Hispanic, or Native Americans. Noah had 3 sons: Shem, Ham, and Japheth. The African people are descended from Ham. They are the dark-skinned people, not the Negroes. They are not our people. So when they say that, they don't even know what the hell they're talking about. They were threatened by the white people that went there to enslave them before they enslaved my people, the indigenous Taino Indians, the tribe of Ephraim and Zebulon, and others from the Caribbean islands. Christopher Columbus did that in the conquistadors. Since we had smaller bodies and we couldn't do much of the work after enslaving us, they needed more help. They need bigger bodies. So they went to the west coast of Africa to get our brothers from the tribe of Judah, Benjamin, and Levi. They're not indigenous to Africa. They escaped there from Jerusalem like we did when it was destroyed in 70 AD by the white people and the African people. But they want to twist things around and make it look like, they're not responsible for what they did for the atrocities of chattel slavery and torture and murder and rape and theft. And the other one where they say why we have weird names. Well, we change our names into any name possible because we have slave names. I have a Hispanic slave name from Spain, from the conquistadors, who enslaved and captured and kidnapped my people and took them and enslaved them in Spain and taught them Spanish. That's why they call us Hispanic, because that means property of Spain. Latino, property of Rome. So that's where you get that from. That's why we change our names into different names, because we don't want our slave name. And that we're lazy. Listen, the majority of people on welfare before Trump took it off, 85% were white people on SNAP, Section 8, disability. You know how many people were on DEI? 90% were white women. See, this is what I don't get, is that white people love to pick and choose things, and what suits them for their narrative and their racism. They don't want to say out loud, oh, we're the lazy pieces of shit out there that came to the new world with diseases and had to be taught by the very people that they hate how to bathe, how to brush their teeth, wipe their ass, taught not to fuck animals and their kids. That's why they have recessive genes and light hair and light eyes and leprosy for skin, because they've been having sex and fucking their kids for thousands of years. No other nation does that except them. Even to this day, they still do it. Even when they went to the New World and met my people, we knew they were nearby because they stink. And they had diseases. They had syphilis, they had smallpox. They were disgusting. My people taught them to bathe, to grow corn and squash and not eat dead bodies in their own shit to survive. This is the truth that's out there. That's true. My people went, the Moors went to Europe and ruled it for 700 years and domesticated the white people who turned the entire country in Europe into a giant toilet bowl where they defecated everywhere and urinated everywhere, and they never believed in bathing. They had to be deloused, taught to take a bath, not have sex with animals, not sex with their own children. These are true. This is true facts. But if I was them, I wouldn't want nobody to say that either. It's disgusting. So I just wanted to say that because that was ripping me apart inside, and how white people use this to try to humiliate and degrade people. I was watching that that culture pop show, Neurotic, and when they had all these white people on there making fun of, saying, oh, they have weird names. I think they were reviewing Ironheart or something like that, and they had the audacity to say all these things, and I'm like, what? Why doesn't these people know their truth? Either they do know, or they just want to play stupid. The entire planet knows the truth of who they are and what, and where they came from. They basically cave people from the Caucasus Mountains. They lived in caves. They had sex with Neanderthals. 30 to 40% of their DNA is Neanderthal, of non-human creatures. Their own white people, their own scientists say that blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans are the true humans, the pure humans, because we have no Neanderthal DNA. We have no recessive genes from fucking our kids. We have dominant genes, and we have melanin. As a matter of fact, human, H-U-E with the E silent. See, they don't want to put the E in there because they'll realize, hey, if you don't have a hue or color or shade or melanin, you're not human. You're not a human being. Even their own scientists say that. We have dominant genes. We can create every nation and race on this planet. They cannot. They have recessive genes from thousands of years of incest and interbreeding. So I don't understand how they get this idea that we're monkeys and yet they had sex and mated with non-human ape-like subhumans, Neanderthals, and lived in the caves with them and eventually outbred them and completely integrated them into their bodies. Just having sex with each other, with their kids and everything. It's likely like every white person is descended from their brother and sister. This is not coming from me. This is coming from their own white scientist. And the other stuff. They're colonials. They're colonizers. They're oppressors. They're murderers, rapists, and thieves. All they do is start wars, poison the air, the food, the water, and rape. But somehow they were all giggling and laughing on that podcast, and I'm like, what? Like this is factual. I'm like, the stuff they were saying was completely absurd. I think the show was called Nerdrotic Daily, and they were reviewing Ironheart, the new series from Marvel came out, and they started ripping it up because the woman was black. I mean, they were going off. Don't you know this is not real? This is a TV show. It's not real. But instead of talking about pop culture and the story, the direction, the acting, the special effects, all they did was bring in about her race and laugh and try to degrade with stereotypical, things about black people. Listen, you want to get mad at that show? Get mad at Kevin Feige. He's the one that runs Marvel. He's the one that okayed it, and he's white. The writer is white. The director is white. Get mad at them. They okayed it. But you don't want to go after them. It's easy to go after the black woman by people who wrote the script and directed the show and okayed it, who put these stereotypical caricatures of people of color in their show, that they think this is how they talk and act. Is this new? No. They're not going to put our people in a positive light where they know it's going to trigger white people to go bananas and openly degrade the show with racism. I was surprised. I was like, they will openly say that on a YouTube show. And there was one guy on there, his name was Ryan. I mean, he was openly racist, man. I mean, the first thing that came out of his mouth was black this and Captain African American. I mean, this guy was so racist on a pop culture show about a make-believe show that these guys were going off. They were triggered. it's a make-believe show. Why is the people's race and color so important to you? I don't understand. And then you're gonna try to come up with these racist stereotypes of our people like it's fact. It's bullshit. And then giggle and laugh like a bunch of schoolgirls. None of these people wouldn't even have the balls to go up to a black, Hispanic, or Native American man and say that to his face without being beaten to a pulp. You gotta hide behind a computer screen, a YouTube show to spout this disgusting racism and degradation. I dare you to go to somebody and say that. But, I mean, the disrespect was off the chain. It's unbelievable. And they really believe what they were saying as if it was true. And they don't know nothing about their own history, who they are, and what they've done. It's unbelievable. And they take it as fact, as this is true. But I saw this, man. Another time they did that is when they were reviewing Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes. They did the same thing. I was like, what? And the same guy was spearheading. He said, "Oh, you know how they all look alike," and he was referring the apes to look like black people. I couldn't believe it. And they had a guest on there, a woman named Lauren Chen. She looked embarrassed. I mean, she put her head down. She was speechless. The blatant racism just out of these people's mouths. It was incredible. So disrespectful. But anyway, I just wanted to say that, and it was kind of bothering me a little bit. You know, I was like, the audacity. I mean, the caucasity, man, was unbelievable. I mean, they, they, I mean, they're from the Caucasus Mountains of Georgia, Russia. They live like cavemen. How come I know that? How come my people know that? Every school child when I grew up, we knew that, but they don't know that, or they pretend not to. How? They were known as the wild men of Europe. I mean, they had hair all over their bodies, all over their face. They looked like Yetis, like Bigfoot. How? How can they not know this? And they were filthy. They went everywhere running on all fours with dogs. I mean, they were filled with lice. This is known throughout my community. And the reason why we're in the lower positions because we disobeyed the law, statutes, and commandments of the Lord. They know that. This is why they went above and beyond what they did to us. We domesticated them and they turned around and murdered us. They were on the brink of extinction with their filth, with disease, starting the bubonic and the black plagues. They were on the brink of it, and we came in, we cleaned them up, and then they repaid us by murdering and enslaving our people. Unbelievable. But anyway, and the irony is that these people These people have a history of living in filth, that lived in caves as animals, running around, yelling like donkeys and everything, running on all fours. I mean, this is history. Even their own scientists say that they did this. And in the Bible are the very people today causing wars in other countries, murdering people, stealing their resources, got their finger on the nuclear button. You can't make this shit up. You can't, man. The people who are known for something as simple as not knowing how to bathe have the firepower, the nuclear capability of wiping every living creature on Earth. Let that sink in. Let that sink in. I wish they would laugh and joke about that. Because nothing has changed and they're continually doing the same thing, even to today. So you already know World War III is on its way, and they are going to kill every one of us. Me, my children, my friends, my family, every man, woman, child, animal, bird, and fish will be wiped out on this planet because of them. But they have the audacity to laugh on their fucking show how terrible we are with fucking stereotypical racist fucking lies. It's unbelievable. Unbelievable. These people are fucking like animals, like dogs. I hope they burn in fucking hell.
Richard King reveals that the core of the human brain is the locus coeruleus, which is a structure that is black because it contains large amounts of neuromelanin, which is essential for its operation. 2, black infants sit, crawl, and walk sooner than whites. 3, Carol Barnes notes that human mental processes are controlled by melanin, that same chemical which gives blacks their superior physical and mental abilities. 4, some scientists have revealed that most whites are unable to produce melanin because their pineal glands are often calcified or non-functioning. Pineal calcification rates with Africans are 5 to 15%, Asians 15 to 25%, and Europeans 60 to 80%. This is the chemical basis for the cultural differences between blacks and whites. And 5, melanin endows blacks with greater mental, physical, and spiritual abilities, something which cannot be measured based on Eurocentric standards. End quote. Let that sink in. Melanin endows black people with greater mental, physical, and spiritual abilities.